Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. You are now listening to the Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney. Let's grow!
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Adam McChesney, and I want to thank you for being here. We are live from here at Half Coast Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you to Half Coast for this amazing setup and sponsoring the show. If you are looking to start your podcast or take your current one to the next level, then you need to check these guys out. Contact them today for a free consultation. If you're listening, please be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. We would love for you to share this on social media by tagging me. In this way, we can get this incredible content out to more people. We have a great episode lined up for you today. This guest I have known for almost 2 years now. We got connected on early in our entrepreneurial journeys through a Facebook group and have similar mindsets on business, but more importantly, personal development and growth. My guest today is Winston Davis. He is the owner of MoveUp Consulting. His company serves moving companies by offering services to help with hiring, recruiting, and building systems in order to scale and expand the business with people and processes. Winston, welcome to the show.
Adam, what's up, dude? This is so cool, man. Proud of you, man. This is sweet. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. I was thinking back about how we got connected, and I know it was in a Facebook group, and I know we started messaging back and forth, and like the next week we got on a call together, and then we did a live together, and we've just kind of stayed in contact ever since. But like, dude, we had no idea what we were doing back then.
No idea. None. I would message just people and just see what happened. Like, hey, you want to get on Zoom? Mm-hmm. And, some went well, some didn't go well. Some were awkward, some weren't. And this was one of the best ones. So, yeah, man.
No, I love it, man. And yeah, and not that we still know what we're doing, but we have a better grasp on what we're doing. And it's been awesome, man. So I'm super pumped for this episode. Super pumped to have you on. I know we were just talking, you just recently got married. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Your business, I mean, everything that you've done has just been on the up and up since we first talked. So I'm excited to kind of dive into your entrepreneurial journey. For the guests, whether it's your first episode or you're tuning back in with us, we have an outline for the show. We like to compare the brewing process of a beer to that of the journey of the entrepreneurs that we have on. So we talk about things like the history, key ingredients, brewing process, fermentation and conditioning, and then kind of the distribution of everything. So Winston, kind of start us off with the history on who you are, where do you come from, and what exactly is MoveUp Consulting and what do you guys do?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'll try to do a quick beginner overview, and then we'll get to the move up part as fast as we can. So I grew up in Southwest Virginia. I grew up in a little, not even a town. It's like it's a speck of a place called Big Island, Virginia. And then pretty much when I started high school, we moved closer into a town, which is called Bedford, Virginia. We always did athletics, got really big into track and field. Started with like being a sprinter, and I'm a white guy. I'm 5'6" and not that gifted. So I figured out, let me try distance running, because that one seems like one that's more of a mental game than a, talents and gifts thing. And man, I just fell in love with it. I ended up going to college, and I ran 4 years for Shenandoah University. I did cross country and track and field. In track, I was a 5,000 meter and 10,000 meter runner. And I went to school up here in Winchester, and that's where I live now. So I pretty much set up camp. So when I was wrapping up college, that season of life with track and running, that was kind of coming to a close. And that was my thing, dude. That was what I put everything in. And, I've always been pretty driven individual, always had just this giant hunger for life. And anybody that knows me pretty well, when I decide something, I'm all in. So when that wrapped up, man, I was like, dang, I almost went through that little bit of a depression. But I was so lucky because I ended up getting into network marketing right when I was 21. I was finishing up school, and I ended up meeting a couple really key people. And man, for 2 to 3 years, I ended up taking a sales job for a moving company, a franchise moving company in Winchester. I started learning how to sell, started learning how to network, and really wasn't making a lot of money yet, just kind of, figuring stuff out. And, being around entrepreneurial, like-minded dreamers, that's what kind of unlocked me. I started reading books, started getting into podcasts, started to really think about my future and my vision for my life, how to dreamcast things. And then, not long after that is when MoveUp came around. So post-COVID initiation. So right around the summer of 2020 is when I quit my job, had zero money, zero income, and was like, man, I'm just going to go for it. And it's the best way to do it, because there's no excuse then. There's no job to fall back to. The way I looked at it was like, well, dude, if this doesn't work in 3 to 6 months, I'll just go get another job. And so that's how MoveUp started. And so I came from the moving and storage industry, moving and junk removal industry, really. And just saw a big need. The labor market was tight, and there was no other businesses, like no other agencies, no other businesses that were helping moving companies with hiring. And I was like, man, why don't we do it? Why don't I do it? And so I've just been figuring it out ever since. Like you said in the beginning, still figuring stuff out, still don't know anything. But I'm just, we're a little further ahead than maybe when we started. So that's just a little bit.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, I knew that, I think I'd seen that I've seen, the running stuff that you do, and it's like completely next level. But it's funny because there's so many similarities to your story that there is with mine. Like, I was a college soccer player, and I was getting chills when you were telling that part of the story, because I went through the exact same thing. I did well in school. I got multiple degrees, but like it got to that end point where I was like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? Because everything that I thought was going to go on forever is just like coming to a screeching halt. It's a very sobering moment. And then, so what were you doing in network marketing specifically? Was it like an MLM or any of those types of things, or what was that?
Yep. MLM. And so, not to go into, a whole rabbit hole there, but, I was doing a lot, not so much on the sales, but I was really recruiting a lot. And, the guys I was in business with are my best friends today. That business ended up not being the business that I, went to 6 figures and 7 figures in, but it was where I learned how to do 6 figures and 7 figures. And the people I was in business with and the system we had was what helped me develop as an entrepreneur. So it was like the best thing in the world, because I'm a big fan of network marketing and for the development part, because I got the chance to own a business, be 1099, without having, 20, 50, 100, 200 grand to put up. And I could just practice. And, out there, trying to make something happen with, nutrition products, with sports nutrition. I was an athletic guy, so I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I can get behind that. And, man, I'd tell you, I had a couple guys that were in that business with me, and dude, we would just go to the stores. We'd go out into town to meet people, because I didn't know how else to meet people. And dude, I was scared as could be in the beginning, to just go say hi to somebody or give them a compliment. And man, I'll tell you, over time, that's what has made me a great entrepreneur, in my opinion, is being able to just walk up to anybody, say whatever the heck I can come up with, and create a friend in a matter of 60 seconds.
No, that's awesome. And I love that you kind of related to the skills and the foundation that you learned there to get to where you're at now. I think so many people think that they have to do everything at once and hit the home run, and they have to run things into the ground. And very rarely, like even for me, this is my first my marketing agency is my first business, but how I've been able to grow and scale and do all of those things, I learned those things years ago. It was just working for someone else that I learned those things that helped propel me to where I'm at now. So I love that you touch on that. Kind of talk about the next part. So we like to talk about the ingredients of a beer. Obviously, great beers are made from great ingredients, but in your particular process and journey, what are 3 of the main things that have made you successful as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, man, what a loaded question, because there's 1,000 answers, and even more so, there's dozens of people that are the causation of the skill sets, the abilities that we'll talk about here. But, the one that sticks out that this is real strong for me and my wife, Rebecca, is, man, I learned how to develop my faith muscle. And especially by starting a business that you don't know, leaving a job that is a good job and you're making decent money in the world standards, to go to 0 money monthly and to try something you don't know if it's going to work. You got to have tons of faith. And that has been my number one key to success. I'm a big believer in the good book. The one that I subscribe to has some good stuff in it. And every time that I've been in a tight spot, like, I revert back there. And it gives me ultimate confidence, because there's words in there that are truths and universal principles that carry you. And I've never been wrong by that. So my faith muscle, that I've had to grow, and I'm still working on it big time, but just understanding that, man, there's a bigger plan in place, and we're just a small part of it, but knowing that it's all going to work if you do the work. And I'll say number 2 is that part that we talked about with what I learned in network marketing, of the ability to go shake hands and make friends anywhere. That's why I'm on this podcast with you, man, is just the gumption and the notion to say, man, let me just talk to this guy. Let me just see what this person's about, and just being friendly everywhere you go, man, trying to help other people. I think everybody's, intention is looking inwards in the beginning. It's like, how can I make $100,000? How can I create a good business? How can I have a great podcast? Or how can I, build my crypto, knowledge? And it's like, man, the moment you just change that perspective to look outwards at other people, man, that just unlocks it. So that's a big one at 2. And number 3, I'd really say, is what helped me with MoveUp the most. This one's helped me the most with MoveUp, just strategy wise, is the ability to cast vision with my words. I have hands down the best staff, and I didn't go find necessarily the best talented people, but I used my words with my people and casted a vision and created an opportunity zone for our people to grow and develop in a massive way. And that's what's made MoveUp so great. It's not me, it's the 15 people we have that are running it day to day. So those are a few.
Dude, those are 3 incredible ingredients. Faith, really working that muscle, shaking hands, networking, but the really cool one, because I'm going through that same part of the journey right now, is the vision and the team, because you're only one person. I'm only one person. If we stick to being in the business instead of working on the business, we're never going to grow and scale like our clients are. And so, one, I didn't know you had 15 people now. When we were first talking, I knew you started hiring a couple people, but man, that's amazing. So congratulations there. I want to talk on that vision part here real quick, because a lot of entrepreneurs that I know, a lot of people that are listening to this, I hear them just struggle with that aspect of building a culture, having core values and vision. It's not that they struggle with it. It's just that it's really hard to figure out. So with that, I mean, what have you done? Because you talked about not hiring the most talented people. You probably hired on the right people that you wanted in your culture. What were you looking for? And how have you got them to buy in so well? Because that's so important.
Yeah. So a couple answers in there. So I'll start here. The one part I heard was, how did I identify that person? there was a point, I don't know quite what the date was where we were here, but where our business was is I had one staff member helping me service clients, and then it was me doing everything else. So I had just one guy helping me on service end, and I was looking to get some admin help. I kind of needed like little office manager, assistant stuff. And I had put out an ad online. I had gotten, 10, 15 applicants, and I had hired somebody. And then the next day I got an applicant, this girl named Jasmine. And, she was super nice, super friendly. I liked her resume, but I was like, I just hired somebody. And I reached back out to her. I told her, hey, like, I would have interviewed you, but I just placed the position. Reach back out to me in 2 to 3 months. I'll have something that I might be able to give you in 2 to 3 months. And I was serious about it because I was focused on growth. I knew in 2 to 3 months I'd hire another person. And you know what? She texted me exactly 2 months later and said, hey, I just wanted to follow up with you about the job position. I'm really interested in working with your company. My company was an ant at that point, man. I was nervous to hire because I didn't know if I could make payroll. I was running things super tight. But dude, she followed up with me, and I knew that was my sign. That was the identifier. Man, if she'll follow up with me for at the time, it was a $15 an hour job I was hiring her for. She's now our main operations manager. She runs MoveUp. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. So dude, super freaking cool. I love that you've obviously created something, and there's something about it that people want to be a part of, that they're willing to, again, go that extra measure to not even like, you weren't even like, hey, I can guarantee you this job in 2 months. You're like, hey, just follow up with me. 99% of people, even the best salespeople, don't even remember to put something in their CRM, much less just a person looking for a job. So man, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So the next process that we kind of talk about is that of the brewing process. So obviously great beer doesn't happen overnight. There's ups and downs throughout the journey. I know you kind of gave us a quick snapshot, but talk to us about some of the highest of the highs and the lowest of lows, and kind of what got you there, and also what got you out of being down at the bottom.
Yeah. You value the highs when you've experienced the lows. And, when you haven't been in the battle yet, and you haven't been battle tested, you haven't had a high, like you haven't gotten to a high. So you're like hoping for it, but you don't really know. So, I'll start with the lows. Man, I try to really just focus on highs. So this is hard to dig these up, but I'll tell you a couple lows. Before I had MoveUp, back when I was selling for College Hunks, and I was a sales manager there, and I was really getting good at what I was doing. But like, I knew that wasn't where my dream was. Like, that was just a place to make money. And there were great people in that organization. I had a really great franchise owner that helped me with things that I've translated in MoveUp today. There's lessons he taught me when I was a sales rep that I apply today. But like, that wasn't my dream to be there. And I had to make a decision at one point, like, do I continue down this path and try to get into like the national corporate office and start maybe transition into selling franchises and do that? Or do I stick with at the time with network marketing is what I was putting a lot of my evening and weekend time into. And I chose the network marketing, and I took a big pay cut doing that. And man, I was driving all over the state of Virginia. I was driving. There were times where I would drive. I'm up in like Northern Virginia. I would drive 3 hours south to go sit at a Starbucks with someone just to talk about the prospect of them doing business with us. To have that person not show up to the meeting, and then I had to drive 3 hours back home and get home at 2 a.m. and then be at work the next morning. And man, those were some low times, pulling in the driveway at 2 a.m. And man, I'd be playing podcasts and stuff the whole time, fueling my brain. And just there was a time I had a pretty junker car, and I sold that thing for way more than what it should have been, but it was a Hyundai Elantra that definitely was leaking oil, but I just kept putting oil in it. And I had taped to the steering wheel my goals and where I saw myself in 5 years. And I would read that and look at it every day. And like, I'd pull in at 2 a.m. at night and I would read that and I'd say, man, I know that like it's out there. I know I'm going to have that life. I know I'm going to have that freedom. I know I'm going to have those choices. So those were some of the lows. Was actually before MoveUp. I'll be honest, MoveUp was only tough for a little bit to me. Is that point of like hiring on staff when you didn't really know if you could keep them. But once I knew, okay, I've got the funds, I've got the capital reserve. I knew I had a demand for my market for the service we were offering. It's just been up from there. So the high has been the high we're on right now is just this massive onboarding of clients for a service that is very, very unique, very brand new to the market. And, it's been a 5-year process to get paid. And so it takes a little bit.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I love that you talked about like that manifestation. And I think that manifesting is really big for me right now, for a lot of people that are probably listening as well. But you also wrote it down and you also put it in a spot that you're always going to see it, especially when times were tough. And you probably got more out of that person not showing up after driving 3 hours than if you would have just had like a very lackluster conversation with that person, because it built you into who you are today, man. So I think that part is really cool.
Yeah.
So the next part that we'll kind of talk about here is the fermentation and conditioning. So this is a part where in the beer process, you're trying to figure out where things are at, what the final result is, and figure out what needs to be changed in order to get better. So what is the biggest lesson that you have learned? And you may have talked about it already, but what is the biggest lesson you have learned that you would share with someone that's an entrepreneur looking to shave off years worth of mistakes?
You know what? This is I'll say this is a funny question because I have a guy that works for me part-time. He's an 18-year-old kid in high school. He's about to graduate and he does a little bit of video editing and marketing stuff for me. Some design stuff, video editing for YouTube. And he'll come to the house once a week and work in my office with me. And this dude's going to be the real deal because I know he asks me these questions every week. He asked me this stuff. But that's why I hired him, because I love the kid. But, the number one thing I think, Adam, is realizing and accepting that all of my excuses are lies. That at the end of the day, man, there is no excuse. There is nothing you can say about why you didn't hit, whatever your target or goal or your mission is. And you can't say that you were too busy. You can't say that you didn't have time. You can't say that you were too tired. You can't say that you didn't have support. You can't say you didn't have the tools. They're all lies. And the enemy wants to keep you down. And when I started realizing, you know what, all excuses are lies. The only way that you get away from the excuses is understanding the truth. And the truth is that, dude, you have everything that you need. You have all the support. Mm-hmm. You have all the time. You're not too busy. You have plenty of energy, plenty of time. And when I started thinking that way, and it didn't happen all at once, it kind of, 4 or 5 years ago, it started happening a little bit in doses, and then it started kind of snowballing, and then the MoveUp came around, and then it started making some money, and I was like, okay, well, all right, this is working. Let me keep doing this. And now it's so, dude, it's part of who I am now. Is, I catch myself. I'm not perfect. I still don't want to wake up in the morning and freaking go to the gym, and I don't want to do the stuff I need to do, but I catch myself. And that's the number one thing that I would teach to somebody in the beginning is is if you can figure that out, there's really not a whole lot else to figure out.
That's powerful, man. I'm going through, getting better at it every single day. I'm reading the book Extreme Ownership. I don't know if you've read that one by Jocko Willink.
Jocko, yeah, I got it on my bookshelf right here, man.
Babin. And man, dude, like when you start to realize that everything that has anything to do with you is your, like, you have to own that. And you realize that like on their level of what ownership meant versus like my remedial task or a situation with a client or an employee, like you have to throw the excuses out the window and you have to own it. And I love that you said that, because I think people just, it's not that they don't know that, but it's so easy to just point the finger elsewhere. It's so easy to point the finger on a client when really you could have done something better, most likely. Yeah. And you have to own that, which is awesome, man.
Yeah. We do with MoveUp, all of our staff, we do a Monday morning full team meeting. And every Monday morning, we do a little bit of housekeeping stuff, but I spend about 30 minutes with my team and I just talk about stuff like that. And we talk about not just their job, but like life stuff. And it's just all mindset. I just try to give a gift, every morning on Mondays. But I talked about that one this Monday, about the excuses, being lies. And you wouldn't believe how many of my people send me a direct message on Slack and was like, dude, I just got to tell you, thank you.
That's amazing, man.
That's what's like driving me to grow is now I've got, a dozen or so or more people with us. I'm like, man, we need to have 100 people. We need to have 1,000 people, because we need these people to hear this message. Mm-hmm. It's helping people. I get messages from my team about people that have started going out and walking. Right? They used to not ever walk, like exercise wise. Now they start walking. Yeah. People that saved up money and they just made a big car purchase. Like I've got those stories happening in my team, and I get those messages, and man, it's like, I just want more of that for the people.
That's amazing, man. That's what it's all about. And it's super cool, as you mentioned, when that happens, and you're playing such a big part in your team and your industry. So kind of wrapping things up here, we like to talk about the distribution process of, taking the beer to the market and selling it. For the entrepreneur and our guests, what is next? What's next for Winston?
Yeah, man. And real quick before we got on, I told you, man, I've got my favorite brew, my favorite beer, Devil's Backbone 8-point IPA. I'm an IPA guy. So is my wife. So maybe we get a little plug for them. Send them this podcast. Tell them, hey, sponsor the show.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, man.
Devil's Backbone is a local brewery in Virginia, and they're super good. But I've never drank a beer this early in the day, I don't think. So I popped one because I was like, man, we're gonna be on the Entre Brewer. Like I should have a beer.
You're the first guest to pop one on, and I wish I had one to pop with you, man.
I was a little nervous about it. I'm like, man, I have meetings after this, but I'm like, yeah, we'll run the gambit. So anyway, what's next? So MoveUp, our mission right now is to go to 500 moving and storage companies in the U.S. and Canada. That is our initiative in the immediate. We're pushing to 100, and so our goal is 500. When we get about 500, we're going to pretty much dominate just about every market. There's 50 states. Every state, 7 to 12 markets, depending on the state. So we're working on that. $10 million annual business. And after that is going to be taking different verticals. We're going to take the company, and we're going to take everything we've done with moving and storage. We're going to apply it to roofing. And then we're going to go into pressure washing and power washing. And then we're going to go into landscaping. And that's where we're going. I'm excited about people joining me. If there's somebody that's looking for a company to jump on and you want to get in hiring and recruiting, this is a spot. We're an agency style business. I think there's a lot of recruiting companies that are kind of old school. We do things a bit different. And man, that's where we're headed. And just having a lot of fun, helping a lot of people, having a lot of fun.
I love it, man. I have no doubt that you guys are going to do that. I can tell that you're having a lot of fun, man. I can see it. I can see it online, but I can see it in talking with you. So I'm super pumped for you, man, and really appreciate you hopping on. I know you're super busy, but give the audience an idea of where they can find you, or where's the best place to find you, whether it's a website, social media handles, all that good stuff that we'll put in the show notes.
Yeah. So I'm on just about anything and everything. So Facebook, Instagram, Winston Tyler Davis. If you go want to check out our YouTube page, Winston Davis on there, and then MoveUpConsulting.com. So where you can get some info. If it happens to be a moving company, here's this. Call me. Check us out, man. We'll help you. We're the best in the business. Movers, drivers, we got you all day. So MoveUpConsulting.com, and then Winston Tyler Davis on social.
Awesome. And as I mentioned, we'll have that all in the show notes. But Winston, man, thanks for joining, and I really appreciate you, man, and look forward to connecting again here soon.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course. And to the audience, I want to thank you again for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share our content. Leaving a 5-star review goes a long way. And thank you to HAFCO Studios. If you're here in St. Louis and looking to start your own podcast, then you seriously need to come check out what they have going on. See you all next week. And remember, entrepreneurs aren't born, they are brewed.
I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. Thank you for listening to Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney.